I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Dan Polo.
Here.
Lisa Stafford.
Yeah, here.
Dan Dalton.
Here.
Ann Polo.
Here.
Steve Dalton.
Here.
Dan Jackson.
Here.
We'll start with the clerk's report and the minutes. Okay. First thing we have is we received a thank you card. Thank you so much for all of your support of Eric and our family. It was much appreciated. Sincerely, the Simon sisters, signed by Amy, Kawana, and Rosie. Okay, we have 3 sets of minutes because the oldest one was sent out late. Thanks to Danny reminding me. You have the August 7th minutes. This was sent in an additional or separate email this afternoon. August minutes. What's your pleasure, council?
I'll make a motion to accept the August 7th minutes.
Second.
Motion by Pam, second by Dan. Any discussion? No discussion, we'll vote. Dan Pillow?
Yay.
Lisa Stafford?
Yay.
Dan Dalton?
Yay.
Ann Pillow?
Yay.
Steve Dalton?
Yay.
Pam Jackson?
Yay.
Then we have the special council minutes from the September 2nd meeting. Council, what's your pleasure?
I make a motion to accept the minutes, I'm sorry, I have to read. 9/16.
I'll second it.
Motion by Dan Pillow, second by Pam Jackson. Any
So-
discussion?
Is that from 9/2 or 9/16?
This one should be 9-2.
Oh, 9.
This is the
Okay.
first step. This is where we actually met. You still want to
The
be?
last one's a Zoom.
You want to amend your motion?
Yes, please.
Get amended.
I'll still second
Any discussion on those minutes?
9-2, right?
it. Yes.
We all on the same page now?
I was just double checking.
All right, we'll vote. Dan Pillow,
Yay.
Lisa Stafford,
Yay.
Dan Dalton,
Yay.
Ann Pillow,
Yay.
Steve Dalton,
Abstain. I wasn't there, I can't vote on it.
Pam Jackson.
Yay.
Then you have the ones from the Zoom meeting on the 16th.
Make a motion to accept the minutes from the Zoom meeting on the 16th of September.
I'll second.
Motion by Dan, second by Pam. Any discussion? No discussion, we'll vote. Dan Pillow,
Yay.
Lisa Stafford,
Yay.
Dan Dalton,
Yay.
Ann Pillow,
Yay.
Steve Dalton,
Yay.
Pam Jackson.
Yay.
Okay, you should have received pay ordinance 9A. This was for biweekly payroll that was paid on August 22nd. Total dispersed from the general fund was $9,200.33.
I'll make a motion to accept 9A 2020.
Second.
Motion by Pam, second by Lisa. Any discussion? No discussion, we'll vote. Dan Pillow,
Yay.
Lisa Stafford,
Yay.
Dan Dalton,
Yay.
Ann Pillow,
Yay.
Steve Dalton,
Yay.
Pam Jackson.
Yay.
We have 9B, again for biweekly payroll paid on September the 9th, or I'm sorry, September the 5th. Total from the general fund was $12,113.34.
Make a motion to approve ordinance 2029D.
I'll second.
Motion by Ann Pillow, second by Dan Dalton. Any discussion? No discussion, we'll vote. Dan Pillow,
Yay.
Lisa Stafford,
Yay.
Dan Dalton,
Yay.
Ann Pillow,
Yay.
Steve Dalton,
Yay.
Pam Jackson.
Yay.
And you have 5C for monthly salaries for September in the amount of $7,350.
Make a motion to accept ordinance 2029C.
I'll second it.
Motion by Lisa Stafford, second by Ann Pillow. Any discussion? No discussion, we'll vote. Dan Pillow,
Yay.
Lisa Stafford,
Yay.
Dan Dalton,
Yay.
Ann Pillow,
Yay.
Steve Dalton,
Yay.
Pam Jackson.
Yay.
Then you have 9D, and this is for accounts payable. Dispersed from the general fund was $6,775.17 from the fire EMS fund, $197.51 from the street construction maintenance repair fund, $131.41 from state highway fund, $210.03 from the water fund, $1,069.01, for a combined total of $8,383.13.
I'll make a motion to accept 9D 2020.
Second.
Motion by Pam, second by Steve. Are there any discussions on that one? No discussion, we'll vote.
Dan Pillow,
Yay.
Lisa Stafford,
Yay.
Dan Dalton,
Yay.
Ann Pillow,
Yay.
Steve Dalton,
Yay.
Pam Jackson.
Yay.
Then you have 9E again for accounts payable. Dispersed from the general fund was $3,163.18. From the water fund, $256.28 for a combined total of $3,419.46.
I'll make a motion to accept 9E 2020.
Second.
Motion by Pam, second by Steve. Any discussion? No discussion, we'll vote.
Dan Pillow,
Yay.
Lisa Stafford,
Yay.
Dan Dalton,
Yay.
Ann Pillow,
Yay.
Steve Dalton,
Yay.
Pam Jackson.
Yay.
You should have received a copy of the Addyston Board of Public Affairs. This is their items from their September the 14th meeting. It's their August 10th minutes. It is the August pay sheet and their collection report collected for services through the month of August for payments for invoices, the customers for the month of July.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes and reports of the water board from August.
Second.
Motion by Pam, second by Steve. Are there any discussion? No discussion, we'll vote.
Dan Pillow,
Yay.
Lisa Stafford,
Yay.
Dan Dalton,
Yay.
Ann Pillow,
Yay.
Steve Dalton,
Yay.
Pam Jackson.
Yay.
That's all I have, Mayor.
Is that all you have? Council, the treasurer emailed tonight that she will not be here. What's your pleasure on that?
I make a motion we excuse our absence.
Second.
Motion by Dan Pillow, second by Steve. Any discussion? No discussion, we'll vote.
Dan Pillow,
Yay.
Lisa Stafford,
Yay.
Dan Dalton,
Yay.
Ann Pillow,
Yay.
Steve Dalton,
Yay.
Pam Jackson.
Yay.
Do we have her report or not?
Well, she left the report, I'm sorry, go ahead. She left the report, she texted me and she left me a report, but she didn't have like the other documents
Oh,
with
okay.
it.
She didn't have it completely.
Yeah.
And it was,
Thank
so I just prefer that, because it was requested that she attach that and it
Yeah.
wasn't, so.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Council, I'd also like your permission for this Saturday or this weekend, actually, starting Friday, to do a road closure from the VFW to Church Street for the festival.
Same one as proposed last time.
Yeah. Well, actually, it's a lot smaller. It'll just be from church to
What time are you closing it? You said?
Friday, so we can start setting up Friday morning, and then open it back up Sunday whenever we finish cleaning up really.
They'll see. As soon as you break it down, they'll start coming through.
Yeah.
You want a motion?
I guess if that's what you, just to make it official, she wants a
I'll make
motion.
a motion to allow the mayor to
Okay.
close the street for them.
I'll second it.
Motion by Pam, second by Dan Dalton.
Will we be informing people by all call or
Yes.
some way of just?
I will be doing that this week.
And the bus people.
And
The
the
bus people have been called, I believe.
Left a message, never heard back from them, I'll call them tomorrow.
Yeah, call them again. So,
Can
yeah.
we put, like, I don't know if we have like a paper sign, not a paper sign, but like
some sign that we could put up just informing people as they drive by, just so they know, kind of like you do when
Oh, not
there's road work.
road closure.
Yeah,
Do we have any of those?
just because not everybody's on call or digital.
Right. Gotcha.
I posted to the Facebook
We
tonight.
might be able to put some over in the post office too.
Yeah, I'll post up at the post office too, because everybody goes through there and
Oh,
see if she'll let me put one up like right in the ward.
What time Friday morning are we closing it?
What about like those paper signs the police used to use? Can you, got something you could,
There's no parking.
I'm thinking we're
You
gonna
can't
go
put anything on
and
them.
do
Right on the marker.
because that's what we're gonna, I'll have.
well, I mean,
maintenance guys,
somebody
we're
might
gonna
read it like, oh,
start setting up barricades,
you know,
things like
just to let them
that.
know ahead of time.
Yeah, we're also
We do
gonna have
maybe
a few other
Thursday or
people
something.
setting up things Friday.
Yeah.
Getting ready for it. So I'd rather go ahead and close it off, that way we're ready for when they wanna pull in the trailer for the stage and all that kind of stuff.
Does that affect school buses?
School buses.
If you block
Yeah, Friday.
Friday morning, school buses will
No,
be.
I forgot all about
through
school
that.
buses. I'll call transportation tomorrow.
Well, we could just let the school buses go through. I mean, what time do they go through?
I think the kids down my way at 7:20, so.
Yeah, and then they're back
Yeah,
at first
About
scene
the same,
three
about 7
something.
o'clock,
I
and
see
they
them
come
dropping
back
off
at
at like
3.
3 something.
No, they're sitting out there like between 7:30 and
At night.
7 and 7:30 in the
We'll
morning.
just give them a
waiting for
call and
the
let them
pickup
know
there.
what's going on.
Yeah.
I will.
When
Around about
I see
school,
them
back
down
in.
there, it's like 3 something in the afternoon.
Yeah, kids are actually in school.
Yeah.
Weird.
Aren't they going like Monday and Tuesday, then Wednesdays at home day, and then they get back Thursday and
Yeah,
Friday?
Wednesday's not home then.
No, we
they
just
do
have
like
to
a-
miss the home day, huh?
Yeah, they do like the
Wednesday, Zoom
virtual
day.
school online.
Remember when the superintendent came in and said that they're using Wednesday for a deep clean day
Oh,
between the
gotcha.
days that they're there?
We'll give them a call and work with them on it.
You might want to let churches know too.
Yeah.
Might want to let our churches know, especially the Baptists.
Oh, you'll be able to get up through there. We're not closing off church.
Oh, okay.
We're only
I was
closing off
just
from
thinking-
our firehouse.
No, I just meant
basically,
people who come down Goodrich Green and South Road
Oh, and then have
and
to
through
drive
and go
down.
to that church, because they have a big congregation.
Right. Yeah, that's fine. I can get them passed over.
Is it, we were normally able to kind of keep it open on the day before, but I don't know, you guys have some bigger stuff, right?
If we can keep a lane open, we will.
Yeah, that's what I'm going for, is mainly just seeing what we have to do. For the
Mhm.
most part, we'll just kind of keep it open anyway, until we
Yeah.
ultimately have to close it. Once we
Oh,
start
yeah.
setting up on the street, then
Mhm.
any other discussion? No discussion, we'll vote.
Dan Pillow,
Yay.
Lisa Stafford,
Yay.
Dan Dalton,
Yay.
Ann Pillow,
Yay.
Steve Dalton,
Yay.
Pam Jackson.
Yay.
And a resident wanted me to also, I think, I don't know if the way the rest of you feel about this, but somebody mentioned they're not liking too much a silver van parking out front because of the leakage on the van. What did it, look like? I don't know, maybe what you guys think about keeping that front open, or I just want to bring it up to council.
Posting like 15-minute parking.
Well, it'd have to be longer considering council meetings are longer, but
We could park.
I just wanted to bring it to your
Oh, yeah.
attention. I don't expect any of you to do anything, just, we have a truck that hasn't moved and a van that's leaking, and, which that's not my issue really so much as usually like most of our residents know that we have like, that's kind of like a courtesy. Usually people park there when they do their business, then they leave. But
Or if they need to run the mailbox.
I spoke with
Yeah.
Ron because I thought there was a problem, the owner, and he said, both, although they look like they stay in the same spot, he said they drive them both. That's what he
the
told
van
me.
they do,
Yeah,
truck don't move.
oh, he kind of trucked me too.
Well, he's trying to learn, I don't really mind so much, but
Yeah,
they need to take care of it.
I
I'll take care
asked
of it.
him if he had a problem parking in the lot,
That would, yeah.
sort
I
of
mean,
like.
park over in a lot and leave it open for people to come and go. But I think the reason he hasn't really moved the truck so much, not because the truck's not running, because he's teaching himself how to drive
Drive
the
a
stick.
stick, right.
So that's fine. I don't think I have anything else right now. I'm sure I'll think of something in a few minutes. We'll just go.
Mayor? Could we go, we have that cool giant sign, right? The light up sign that we post messages on every once in a while.
Mhm.
Were we gonna post, I was swinging back to the, our fall festival.
Yeah,
Were we gonna put that sign up or something?
that's what we were planning on doing. It should have already kind of been up, but we were just kind of dragging, you know.
Okay, I was just curious.
No, that, yeah, but we're trying to get to it, I guess.
Are we?
Get more on the ball.
Yeah. Are we gonna discuss that, or somebody else gonna give us a final report on what we're gonna be doing, especially? Just, is there special places for certain people? I know we have a couple of things that they said that we could do.
Yeah, the planning committee, if you're still, we'll set up a tent, we'll set it up. You just guys have to man it, so the
Okay,
popcorn.
and I
And
just
the
want,
dunking booth.
and a dunking booth
I
too?
can go too.
No, you don't get no dunking boots.
I'm not getting one by myself.
Well,
But it'll
That's gonna be a long-
Everybody's gonna do it. I didn't think everybody
yeah,
would do it.
well, I just want to make sure that we're having problems when we met getting people to man that particular booth.
The
Some people,
popcorn and cotton candy.
they've committed to other areas in the festival, some of the same people which we weren't aware of, but we'll still try to look for people to.
I mean, I can actually look for a few to pull down there to do it.
Yeah, okay,
I mean, my sons are not taken up yet that I'm aware of.
right, and
Take it up.
I can always utilize them.
I like to be perfectly honest with everybody. I'm gonna figure out a way to keep myself safe in doing this, because obviously we know that this is still not sanctioned by the government, but I'm gonna take one for the team and try to help as much as I can, so.
Well, they have a guideline on festivals.
They do, I didn't see that.
Yep,
All right,
as long as we follow the festival guidelines.
6 feet apart.
Yep.
Good luck with that.
Well, you can't make, well, can't force people to do it, but as long as we follow the guidelines, that's what matters.
We told them.
Under 50 and 6 feet apart.
Yeah, if they haven't heard that by now, I don't know where they've been.
All right. We don't have any motions sitting open, do we, for a vote? No. All right, we'll just move on to Bob. Bob, do you have anything tonight for us?
I've got an ordinance adopting the Village of Addyston personnel policies and procedures, September 2020.
Council, what's your pleasure on that one? That's our new
okay.
personnel policy procedures that
Sure,
they were working
sure.
on and finally finished.
Yeah, I make a motion that the said ordinance be declared an emergency, read 3 times by title only, be adopted, adopted as an emergency. I should know that.
Suspend the rules.
Suspend the rules first, please.
We'll get it.
Thank you, we'll get it. So I think all 3 components are there.
And I'll second it.
Motion by Dan Pillow, second by Pam Jackson. Any discussion? No discussion, we'll vote.
I do have,
Sure.
this is gonna sound weird, and does this need to be an emergency, or this is a pretty big change in our policies, procedures? Should this one take a little time, that way people got a chance to look at it, versus kind of pushing it through in 6 days?
Well, I mean, we've had.
No, I know I've had it, but it's also supposed to be the public can look at it, like this is a major change in our policies and procedures across the village, right? Like, we're updating a lot of different things. Do we want to give it some time before we just go, yeah, just do it?
This is for the employees.
Yes, for the employees. Which employees have known about it now for
I'm
months.
just raising the question.
No, that's fine. It's your, council, it's your decision. The motion's on the floor for an emergency. Now, whether you guys decide to move forward, that's entirely up to you guys.
There wasn't that much change in the one
No,
with the
not really.
employees. The big change is the one with the PD, isn't it?
That's gonna be a major change, yeah.
Yeah,
Kind
this one
of.
wasn't
It
that big of a
depends.
change, I didn't think.
Mainly with the healthcare, I think it was the biggest
And we
change.
all
What they're not.
You know,
But when the police thing is adopted, they still have to go by the rules set forth in
In the
this
policy,
procedure.
yeah, in this,
Right, but we've got to get our own village pertinent policy things together.
and we are working on that. That's gonna be a few weeks still.
Oh, I know.
Then,
So does Dan want to amend?
it was just a discussion point. If council, like, I'm just asking the question.
that's fine.
This one's in the form of an ordinance because contained in that policies and procedures, it repeals ordinances that are inconsistent with the policies and procedure manual that you're going to be adopted. That's why, in reading through it, that's why I said there's got to be an ordinance instead of just a voice vote.
Okay.
Any further discussion? No discussion, we'll vote.
Dan Pillow,
Yay.
Lisa Stafford,
Yay.
Dan Dalton,
Yay.
Ann Pillow,
Yay.
Steve Dalton,
Yay.
Pam Jackson.
Yay.
First reading an ordinance adopting the Village of Addyston personnel policies and procedures, September 2020. Second reading, ordinance adopting the Village of Addyston personnel policies and procedures, September 2020. Third reading, ordinance adopting the Village of Addyston personnel policies and procedures, September 2020.
I'd like to make a motion to accept the red.
I'll second it.
Motion by Pam Jackson, second by Lisa Stafford. Any further discussion? Yes.
On the back pages of the policy and procedure manual, all the changes are listed on a separate page for ease of reference.
That was in the email where it had to like, kind of like the cheat sheet notes.
Well, I put the cheat sheet notes separate, but I also attached them to the policy and procedure manual so that if somebody comes along later and wants to know when something was changed, it's always in that policy and procedure manual, so you got a reference instead of trying to go back through minutes and find it.
Any further discussion?
Is the final draft that we received a few weeks ago, was anything else changed after that? Okay. I'm good then.
All right. We'll vote.
Dan Pillow,
Yay.
Lisa Stafford,
Yay.
Dan Dalton,
Yay.
Ann Pillow,
Yay.
Steve Dalton,
Yay.
Pam Jackson.
Yay.
This will be number 8.
Next ordinance is an ordinance to amend appropriations for the current expenses and other expenditures of the Village of Addyston, Ohio during the calendar year ending December 31st, 2020.
Do we want to wait on this till the finance, I mean, it's in your email if you want to read it, but the justification of all the transfers and the changes, part of the finance committee report, do we want to wait on this so you know why we're moving things around?
I think that.
Yes, I mean, yeah, I was going to wait for discussion. I did want to say that I don't thoroughly understand it.
Did you want to wait till the committee reports and then
Yes,
go back to that?
that would probably make more sense.
Fine, that's all.
Okay. Okay, that one's still.
And I did prepare the ordinance for the Board of Public Affairs, which has to pass their ordinance before council can act on it. Then I have the issue with this stack of documents for the International Property Maintenance Code, which I'll have for you next council meeting because there's going to have to be modifications. I have to meet with Dick Weber at least one time in order to address these ordinances.
And I'll report a little bit on that. Okay. That's all you have. All right, we'll go to committees. Dan, we'll start with you.
Thank you, Mayor. Just have a couple of things. I want to remind council and make sure you tell all of your constituents, everybody you know, that this is the last week for census, and every person counts in Addyston because many of our grants are predicated on census counts. So just a reminder for that. The Streets Housing Committee Development, we scheduled a meeting for Tuesday, September the 22nd at 6 o'clock p.m. Tuesday, 22nd. You're still good on that? Good. Okay, thank you. I know we're getting at the end of the year, and maybe if we could get any information about getting where the finances are going to be, or what we can anticipate trying to do from a streets commission. Do we have a budget, or is that just come out of the general budget, general fund?
You're talking about your committee meeting, correct?
Yeah, I just want,
okay.
so we could talk about maybe some projects that we would like to see focused on in the coming year. Obviously, as we reported to council last month, there is just a lack of our community being in the shape that we're normally used to having it in. There's been a lot of transition going on, so we were just kind of hoping that we could figure out, or at least talk about, maybe we should talk about it and come back, what we think would be good steps to kind of get our village back on kilter. And it's, like I said, this is nobody's fault. It's just the fact that there's been a lot of interaction, a lot of transition, and we just want to sort of be an impetus to help out with the list that we already given the council. Maybe that's something you guys can look over. So that'll be a part of what we talk about. We'll also be talking about the housing strategy with Hamilton County. And those are the two things that we'll really be looking at. Just want to do a quick update. The shelter, I'm working very hard on that. The local contractor has sort of fallen off the radar, but I do have brochures coming. And at our last planning meeting, we looked at sizes, and if you see the stakes that are over on the ground, that was just sort of to get an idea of what sizes are what. The one that's over there now is like 20 by 30. It's not overwhelming, but the 20 by 20 was really small. So
is that part of the grant?
No, we didn't figure that into the grant because we had...
Oh, so that's not part of the grant?
No, we had two other people giving us, talking to us about donating
right,
for the shelter. Yeah. So, but anyway, yeah, that's the reason I didn't put it in the grant, because we should be getting some donations about that. There again, depending on what size you get, 20 by 20, let's just say it's about $15,000. I think that's what we said, wasn't it, Dan? You were in that meeting. And a 20 by 40, which is an excellent size, is about $25,000. So that's just for the shelter itself. It doesn't include the concrete, which will go, depending on your size, from about $800 if we do it ourselves to about $1,300, just depending on the size. So that's what we talked about in our committee meeting. Any discussion? People were in the meeting, seemed to think that 20 by 20 was small. 20 by 40 was nice, but how much of a loan are we going to get? We have to determine what we want first.
Are we looking at packages, or is this something we can buy materials and build it?
Well, that's why I was trying to get with the local guy to build it, to see if he could build it.
And the one we're looking at was a package.
What I'm talking about is a package.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was a kit, basically.
Oh, so you're looking at the kit, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, was that the steel one that you're referring to in terms of price?
Yeah.
Or was that the, okay,
No.
that one's steel, so we don't have to worry about it.
No, it was vinyl, as a matter of fact. Was it the white one?
No, they didn't, we haven't had that at the meeting.
No, it wasn't vinyl, we either had a choice between wood.
Steel and wood?
Steel and wood.
It was
I thought it was
wood.
steel.
It was wood. It was wood,
Okay.
yes.
Did they mention how much they were willing to donate?
No.
No, they wanted us
Okay.
they wanted us to price it out,
Yeah. Yeah.
tell them what we wanted, and then they would say how much they could donate.
Maybe we should offer them 2 plans.
Oh, oh, absolutely.
You really don't know.
Oh, yeah, I agree, I agree. And also, you know, if we have personnel who can point people what to do, I'm not adverse to us trying to raise it ourselves. It's a lot of work, it's big work, and you're gonna need a piece of machinery.
Yeah.
Are we gonna, so will the shelter have like any like utilities or anything like that in it? Or we planning any
Not
of that?
initially, but eventually, yes, we'd like to run electric and definitely have grills outside of it.
So like
we
the
had-
park charcoal grills kind of thing?
Yeah.
We were looking if we had the more lengthy one, that we could wall off one end of it with, you know, paneling and whatnot, and use that for storage and a concession stand that would fold down, things like that. The cost for that would be really minimal. We could probably get away with it for under grand and a half, maybe $1,500 max.
You think so?
Yeah, with doors and everything, easily. Well, no, I mean, all we're gonna be doing is framing it in. And-
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's
'Cause
not that big a deal.
We did talk in terms of, on the plan itself, there is a concession restroom area that wasn't immediately in the plans. But we can figure out which of those we really want to do. Yeah, but we did talk about that. So we're working on that. We're going to get as many estimates and as many options that we can, so that council can kind of make a final decision on it. I sent you a printout, and I also gave you one today on the Community Development Block Grant CV fund breakdown. Now, again, this is going to take, besides the roads pathway, we're going to have to put that out for bid now, because it's good. It passes the $50,000 threshold for bids. Excuse me. So I will make sure that we get all the bid numbers, which will be very similar to the quotes that we asked for, to be able to put a bid package together and get that out as soon as possible. Quick note, all this stuff is due by October the 31st. So got a little more while than we had before to get this all together, get it back into Hamilton County. One of the big questions is going to be, and I sent that question to them already, does this have to be bid as a whole package, or can we break it down like the walking paths, the concrete, and the other things, much of which we'll be able to do ourselves? Are we going to be able to do that? Or are they going to say, this is one project, you got to put it all together as one project? That's what I'm asking, to get that kind of information from community development. So obviously I've put a lot of things together. I'm going to go back and get some more actual prices. These are just prices that I'm kind of familiar with. And I left it at $90,900. That's what it came to. In case prices are off, you know, it's just a price we can go with. And there again, it depends on what they weed out of the project. So I'll continue to work on that, keep you in the loop on what I'm finding out in all those areas. Anybody have any questions? As you look at those things, somebody might look at something and say, well, you know, my experience tells me this is going to be more, or that experience tells me that something else is going to be a little more. I try to include as many things as I thought we would need. And maybe somebody else may have came up with something that sort of overlooked that we could throw in. Now, one of the things that we'll have to talk about and decide, you know where the circle is at the very end of the roadway? I just have in decorator blocks to make that circle, and then we'll have the middle of the circle to do whatever. That's where we want to put the flagpole back there, where we want the flagpole out in the front of the park, just things that I would hope everybody would sort of think about and give some feedback on. We'll continue to meet while we're off, while we're out of council, and if we come back, have to come back before council meets, I'll let the mayor know, and we'll come back and get together and look at this. This is huge, and I really, really want everybody's input, focus on this. This is a huge project and a fast project, so.
Hey Dan, if I
Yes.
may, we walked there with the kids, yesterday,
Okay,
and it was gorgeous. Like out there were a bunch of kids coming out playing, it was
Right.
really awesome kind of seeing it come
Yeah.
together. Weird thoughts as I'm sitting there. We've got like that black trash bucket kind of thing that's there. Do we have something a little bit more substantial we can put there?
yeah, we do.
Like, I didn't know if we could put something else out there, because actually it was gorgeous, because some of the kids in the neighborhood actually picked up the trash
Amazing.
and put it in there, which, I know, that's what I was thinking as I'm sitting there. The other thing, did we think about trying to put a water fountain back there? Like, I don't know how realistic that is with water lines and stuff, and how much that would cost, but I was kind of thinking, with the kids playing out there, that might be a nice thing to be able to have.
I agree. I agree, and my thought was that we could probably run it off the second-hand water line just for that. Eventually, as we move through this, and if we're fortunate enough to get money to put in a splash park, I obviously will bring a lot of water in the area, but as what you're saying, I agree. I agree.
I just don't know how much it would cost, because it's really not close to any of the water lines or anything, is it?
Just off the second-hand would be the closest one. Just trench it down the hill depending upon where we would put that.
That'd be a pretty big trench though, that's a pretty decent.
About 30, 40 yards. What do you think? You cut that hill a lot, aren't you?
It might be easier to tap into the one on Church Street.
That's what I was saying, yeah. Church Street, that's the one we're kind of talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it'd be too bad, really.
Mhm. It's something to think about.
It might be, I don't know if it'll fit in the grant, but if we had a little, because it says go up to 100,000, if it wasn't too bad, I was just thinking that would be kind of a nice little touch down there.
Yeah.
I don't know where you would put it, I don't know what the land's gonna be.
But we'll figure that out.
But maybe that's something that's next to the shelter when the shelter gets built?
Mm-hmm.
Actually, that would be good, because you're gonna wanna put restrooms back there. Obviously, you're gonna need water
And sewer.
Yeah.
and sewer.
Yeah, so we'd be looking at running something, not just a regular water line, maybe a 2-inch line. Let's see what all comes together in that. Yeah, okay. I'll look at that.
My daughter will be absolutely thrilled that the swing set's on there. We were down there and she was like, Dad, they said they were gonna be swing sets. How come they're not here yet? I'm like, sweetie, it doesn't work that way.
The mayor, well, that's one of her points. She said she wants swings over there. So, yeah, we're definitely looking at that. We'll go back to our supplier and see what we can get swing sets for and get that in there as well. So that's good. I'll make a note of that, put that in there. Matter of fact, I saw Alex over there yesterday. I guess I didn't even know who he was. Was it yesterday or the day before?
They've been using that big field for football games.
Yeah, exactly. And that's great. I've seen kids playing ball over there. The only problem, they like to gravitate toward the playground. And I gotta tell them, guys, just kind of move out that way with the football and baseball so the little kids don't get hit. But I agree, it's getting a lot of good use, and I'm tickled to death about that, as I'm sure we all are. Okay. Yeah, so please, text me, email me, call me. If you come up with something else I can price to put in here, I am happy to do so. And Mayor, that's all I have this time.
All right, thank you, Dan. Lisa?
Our tech and social media committee had a meeting, and it was all just about changing over the website, which Steve and I need to get with Bob and see what we need to do to put an ordinance together so that we can do that. I know Steve spoke with Matt, and he said it wouldn't be a hard thing to change, and Steve's already got you already have the design and everything up, right? You just
So
need
the
to
design
change
council
it.
met feels like almost a year ago when we met, kind of updated things. So it's that design that's updated. When I talk with Matt, the idea would be that the old website would still exist. So like the pages that we haven't updated yet could still link to the original website until we get everything completely transferred over, but the parts that are new could be switched over, was the plan. There's no additional cost or charge to council whatsoever. It's all part of Matt's service. The other thing that we set up, talking with Matt, your Google accounts have access to something called Google Photo now. So the idea is like when you're out like different events and you take pictures, we're actually going to set up where there's a place where everybody can upload their pictures. That's just village, but it's, so we have control over it, but like when you're trying to publish things, social media, things like that, you can publish it out or have photos to use for different events. So it's something everybody would have access to inside council. And it's actually going to be linked to the admin username. That way if like I leave, everything, it's not all linked to my account and they delete my account. So some pretty cool things going up. That's pretty much where we're at though with it.
Yeah. I posted a couple of things on the Facebook page this week, so I'm gonna get some more. I'm gonna definitely post about the street closing for the weekend and everything too. So other than that, that's all I have.
All right, thank you.
Mayor, they said a word, pictures from the event, the grand opening event. Does anybody have pictures? I know I didn't take, I took a few.
Yeah, somebody should
Yeah,
have a
he's
lot
got
of
a ton of
pictures,
them.
right?
Somebody out there?
Not to mention still.
Yeah, we could,
You want some?
Sorry, Mark.
That's all right.
Yeah, but,
yeah, we could get them
Mark,
up on
those
the,
pictures to Danny, would you?
Sure.
or did Lisa here, or?
yeah, I can put some up on the Facebook page and,
Yeah,
Sure.
I'd be happy, you know, dpillow@AddystonOhio.org, so.
Okay.
As a personal aside, please do not publish the pictures that you took of Alex.
Okay.
Alex had 2 balloons and I'll let it go at that.
Planning on doing that.
Yep.
Is that all you had, Lisa?
yes,
Dan,
ma'am.
did you have anything?
No ma'am, not at this time.
All right, thank you, Dan. Ms. Ann?
Yes. The only thing I have is that the planning committee did meet on the 15th of September. We just met to go over like a closeout on the grand opening of the parks and to talk about the fundraiser. And Dan's already mentioned that we need to get together on the Abbey Fall Fest to see who's going to work, because we don't have enough workers. And you volunteered your sons.
I will get volunteers, one way or another. I'm sure he'll be so excited. Hey, he usually runs the hot dogs now, the week that we did, so I'll tell him, well, you got a new one now. It's called Cotton Candy Carnival.
Oh, boy. That's all I have.
Well, thank you, Miss Ann. Steve?
I emailed the finance committee notes to everybody. I'm going to go through them, but I did send them to everybody's email this morning. So the finance committee met both on August 27th and then again on September 17th. Just kind of points of item. The last council meeting, police department requested $1,100 for vests. The funds are available in their account code that you've been using for it, and the account code's in the report minutes. Some of the other things that were brought up, The clerk's office, council had already approved the sub-secretary position. So basically the young lady that's been helping Margaret out with filing things and cleaning things up, that's been kind of helping dig out from the various audits. With the importance of everything that goes on in the clerk's office and trying to keep things moving, we were looking at and we're recommending that we allow the clerk to keep that position for the remainder of this year, especially because we're about to go into the budget cycle, which I'll talk about all those dates, but we're going to start getting all that stuff together. Plus, one of the other things we're going to be talking about is doing an internal audit. So there are a lot of things where the community is going to need the clerk to generate reports and work with us on things and trying to make sure that that office doesn't stall. So we would recommend that basically it's a total of 144 hours for the remainder of the year. Basically, that's approximately 8 hours a week for the rest of the fiscal year. The position is $12 and some change. So we set aside money for that if council's okay with that. The other item, while we're going through these, we'll come back to that. The other things that are reflected so that was reflected in that pay adjustment, so the ordinance that Bob asked was transferring the funds to be able to keep the position to help Margret for the remainder of the year. The other thing that's in there is we approved Erin's longevity pay, but we needed to transfer the funds to be able to support the covering her longevity pay. So the transferring of funds for her longevity pay are also in there. And then with our PERS, so employees pay 10% and then the village pays 14%. When we built the budget, our PERS line item was 14%. However, long story short, 10% of what we need to pay PERS was in the actual salary line item for our employees because they pay 10%. We basically need to move that 10% over into the other line item to be able to pay. So when you look at those adjustments, that's what's reflected. So if you look at the account codes, we'll go through them real quick. The top line, this is also on the ordinance from Bob, if you want to look there. So the very first one where it says other personnel services police, that's the salary for the police department. If you notice, that number has been changed by $6,000. That $6,000 was then moved to the line right below it, which is where we pay the PERS out of. Okay. Then if you look at the line below that, the Ohio Police and Fire Pension Fund. Okay, that fund had some excess funds in it because we didn't have to pay for the pension for our police chief for the year. That is where we were taking money to cover Aaron, longevity pay, and then also we were taking funds out of there to extend the part-time person working with Margret. So if you notice there, that number is changed by about $3,020. Okay, and then the salary to mayor's staff, that went up by $1,020 to cover Aaron's longevity pay. And then the salaries for the clerk treasurer, that went up by $2,000 to cover the person to help Margret. So those are the appropriations. That's just assuming council's blessing with all of those. That's what all the appropriations were and how they were done.
So basically, we just move money from pot to pot.
Yes, to cover the village needs.
Right.
So I'd like to make a motion that we suspend the rules, declare an emergency, and read the title 3 times only.
And I'll second.
Dalton with the assist.
I'm sorry. You made a motion, you seconded it. Motion by Steve, second by Pam. Any discussion? No discussion, we'll vote.
Dan Pillow,
Yay.
Lisa Stafford,
Yay.
Dan Dalton,
Yeah.
Ann Pillow,
Yes.
Steve Dalton,
Yay.
Pam Jackson.
Yay.
First reading an ordinance to amend appropriations for the current expenses and other expenditures of the Village of Addyston, Ohio during the calendar year ending December 31st, 2020. Second reading, an ordinance to amend appropriations for the current expenses and other expenditures of the Village of Addyston, Ohio during the calendar year ending December 31st, 2020. Third reading, an ordinance to amend appropriations for the current expenses and other expenditures of the Village of Addyston, Ohio during the calendar year ending December 31st, 2020.
I make a motion to adopt the ordinance as read.
Second.
Motion by Lisa, second by Dan Dalton. Any questions? No questions, we'll vote.
Dan Pillow,
Yay.
Lisa Stafford,
Yay.
Dan Dalton,
Yay.
Ann Pillow,
Yay.
Steve Dalton,
Yay.
Pam Jackson.
Yay.
This will be number 10, or I'm sorry, number 9.
Then the couple other items came up at the Finance Committee meeting. One of which we were talking about payroll, and one of the things brought to our attention by the clerk is when we have 3-day weekends or holidays in there, it causes issues with trying to get all the payroll entered in on time. Because it's not so much our end as much as when Paycor needs the information entered. Currently, we pay people on Wednesdays. What we'd like to do is move that to Fridays. So if we do the pay on Fridays, that gives a little bit more time to make sure everything's entered and it avoids all the hassles that come with the 3-day weekend.
So we don't want to move the pay period itself, just the day that they get paid on, from Wednesday to Friday. So the pay periods would remain the same. You're working from Monday through Sunday, 14 days. But that gives, like Steve said, if there's a Monday holiday, Paycor wants that
On Friday.
information in on Friday. And if you have officers working through the weekend,
Right.
you can't give them the information on Friday. We need until Tuesday to give them that information. Then that gives them time to process and pay by Friday. So I know 2 days is kind of a stretch for some people, but that's something that we wanted to ask council about, to see if we could move that pay day from Wednesday to Friday and let everybody know, a few weeks before, at least one pay period before it goes into
Well,
effect.
it would probably be the next pay period, because pay went in today.
Okay.
So, and then along with that, like this last pay period, I talked to the acting chief and the mayor was in there, and I said that, I didn't have a problem if, he knew the schedule and somebody was gonna work, that I could take, we could enter it. But if
Right,
they didn't work, we'd have to take it back from them the next time.
right.
And then after the pay period, I had one of the officers come and ask me, he said he didn't get it for
Yes,
that weekend
right.
because it went in early, and I did a special pay for him.
So that's kind of a hassle if
We're
we
just
have
trying
to
to
go back
avoid
and
that.
forth and do that kind of stuff. It just would be easier
If it went in on
if
Wednesday.
it went in
and
on
then-
Wednesday and everybody got paid on Friday. So that's just, something.
And
we
this
discussed
would
in
be
our
a
meeting.
2-week transition period, that they know that on the next pay, instead of, that Wednesday, they're gonna get it that
On
Friday.
Friday instead.
I also want to point out that nowhere, we don't have this written what our payday is.
It's not in
So it's not in the book, but again, we still just want to be fair. We don't want to just change things just because it's not in the book.
Well,
But I do
one
want
time
council to
it
know
was.
that it's not written that we pay on a certain day.
We
It's
used
more,
to pay on Friday anyway.
Yeah, it used to be Friday anyway, so.
But then when the former chief come before council and said that his part-time guys didn't want to wait for the next pay period, because that they used to have to wait. If the pay went in and they didn't work that weekend shift, one of those shifts, they waited until the next pay. But things changed, and that's why I think council went with the doing it on Monday, and then at midnight Sunday, so that it would be entered Monday to get the check on Wednesday. But this would clean things up and make it easier.
So with a couple of our employees here in the room, how do you guys feel about that?
My guys will be fine with it.
I'll be fine with it, I'm sure. The other guy will be fine with it.
Do we need to have an ordinance to do that, Mr. Kelly?
For what, saying
To-
the payday?
Yeah.
Are you paying Wednesday to Wednesday now?
No,
Friday. Moving it
Friday
from
to
Wednesday. Yeah.
No.
No.
And should that be in here, because it's not,
Yeah,
and the policy procedure?
I just want something in writing.
the
or
payday
minutes,
isn't in
because
the policy.
auditors
It doesn't
say
say It hasn't said, that's why we didn't. I mentioned, I said, it's not in here, so we're not gonna.
You could change the pay date by voice vote, because if we change it and insert it in that book, you're gonna
You
have to
gotta
pass
change
another
that.
ordinance.
Yep. Page 14, that's what's on, nothing.
I mean, as long as it's reflected in the minutes. And I can show the auditors, council didn't do this.
Yeah. But it seems like those are the things that we do, then they're not in here, then it's always a discussion later, when, where, and how. Yeah.
Well, if
That's
you're-
all I want to say.
If you're still paying Friday, you're
Right.
still paying Friday to Friday, correct?
Yes. Well,
Well,
it's
Monday to
sorry.
Monday, actually.
Right now,
Yeah.
the pay ended, say, it ended midnight Sunday night. So the pay went in today and they'll get it Wednesday. It's deposited into their account.
We're just changing when we cut the check.
We're just changing technically, like they said, they're just changing the date that it's gonna arrive for the
From Wednesday to
employees.
Friday.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can voice vote that.
Then I make a motion that we change the employee pay day from Wednesday to Friday.
Second.
Motion by Lisa Stafford, second by Dan Dalton. Any further discussion?
Can we make sure that we notify our employees, or, hey, since the department heads are here, could you guys make sure your employees know?
I'll send an email out tonight.
You guys are up.
Good. Full vote?
Dan Pillow,
Yay.
Lisa Stafford,
Yay.
Dan Dalton,
Yeah.
Ann Pillow, Steve Dalton,
Yeah.
Pam Jackson.
Yeah.
All right, I got one more thing, and it's hopefully relatively quick. Sorry to take up so much of council's time tonight. Important dates. So, Councilman Pillow, to your point, what are we talking about next budget? So, in the report, we also talked about important dates. October 15th by 3 p.m. Any POs for this current fiscal year, 2020, need to be submitted to the clerk, where the finance committee will meet and review those to be able to push those through. And just to be clear, for anybody that wants to spend any money, unless it's an emergency that we can't predict, we need everything in at this moment in time. That way we can kind of wrap up this year's fiscal budget and then begin the plan next year's. So any projects, anything that, oh, I've been wanting to do and we said there was money set aside for it, this is the time to make sure that's in there, because when we get to the end of this year, if we said the money was there, it's only there for this fiscal year. When we switch over, we're not carrying anything over unless it's like a earmarked grant or something like that.
That's what I was gonna ask, that we won't take any grant money.
No, that's a separate. Then the other thing we're asking is that all department heads and committees submit by October 15th, any budget request for the 2021 fiscal year. So we're basically, while you're thinking about your budget ending out this year, what do you need, what do you want for next year? And then those budget requests should be emailed to me. I'll kind of compile that for the committee to look at. And then our hope is by November, I used to speak English. Our hope is by November 15th, we will have a rough draft for council's review. And our hope is that honestly, the first meeting in December, we're able to approve it. If not, we're definitely by the latest December 21st being able to approve it. So that's just kind of like the timeline. So if you need things, I will say this. Our income level has not drastically changed, nor have we really drastically changed any pieces to the puzzle this fiscal year. So it's a safe assumption that for the most part, we're rolling the budget over unless there are like some special needs or things like that. We might have a little wiggle room, but for the most part, when you send a budget, it'd be nice if you had the immediate, we can't operate without it, and then if there does a little bit of a discretionary fund, we'd like to be able to do this. And then we can kind of bring that back to council once we kind of throw things together. And then department heads, you have a budget template that I kind of already have set up that I'll sit down with you and the mayor and kind of walk through and then do what you need to. That's pretty much all we really have from my end. Thank you for your time, council.
Thank you, Steve. Pam?
All right, we did have on September the 8th, a special events, just to go over what, because we had that gap in time from the July to now, just so that you were, so we were a little bit aware of what was still going on and wasn't going on. We just discussed like the events and the expenses and the event day, everything, all that stayed the same. Do you have anything about the liquor permit? I know we had to reapply for that.
The permit's here, Margret has a copy of it. Well, the email copy, the one the state sent us is never appeared yet, they mailed it on the 10th.
I have a copy.
Okay, yeah, the original is somewhere between here and Reynoldsburg, Ohio, and the United States Postal System.
Probably wherever my contact lenses are that I opened an hour and a half ago.
And we're doing mail-in voting.
I'm not.
All right. But yeah, then to add on, where Danny had asked about how about if they, the playground for the project or the money that's going to it. It is the full amount, am I correct on that? Whatever they make on that, it all goes to.
Yeah, anything from the popcorn
cotton
and the
Cotton candy.
Cotton candy.
yeah, that stuff. 100% of that will go to parks and playgrounds so that they can put that towards getting some things done over there.
Other than that, there is a layout. She has a diagram, I didn't bring that, like a little small diagram of who's going where proposed. If that's still the same, it may change depending on how many people
Yeah,
that's going to be involved.
depending on how many food trucks we get, we're still,
And how we gotta separate people, the distancing and things.
Right. But it sounds like the stage is going to be
same
normally.
between US 50 and Main Street. It was originally supposed to be in the gravel lot, but we've got cars there now, so.
And as far as the booth for the playgrounds event, whatever, it's down close to the firehouse,
Yeah.
unless that changes.
They'll all be, all the food booths and like our beer booths and things like that, we're gonna try to keep everybody in the same area. Anything sponsored by the village, we're gonna try to keep close together because we're gonna have a generator here that they will be able to run off of. Everybody else that comes in is gonna have to provide their own generators.
So do we solve the table issue as far as what the village needs, or?
I should have a final count on tables hopefully by the end of tomorrow. I mean, we're gonna need.
If there's anything else about the event? That's basically what it was about.
Will there be community groups involved? I saw where somebody got reimbursed because they weren't going to be involved.
That was Laura Cross. She was, the only reason she requested a refund is she
wasn't gonna be here.
You showed him whether she moved to the Bahamas or.
She's told me she's moving to the Bahamas and she's taking her mom with her,
Yeah.
regardless if Faith wants to go or not.
Oh my God.
So
that's kind of why
That's the only one that was backed out. Everybody else is.
But there are other community groups involved?
I don't think any of the other community groups have signed up for anything. Basically just food trucks. We've got one guy local that's gonna be selling, like glow stuff.
But if they're interested, they still have time, what they want.
Don't.
What's your cutoff?
Anybody wants to come in this week can come in. It's just,
You say the guy that's local, does he have a food truck or is he doing a booth?
no, it's a booth with like, odd, like sports memorabilia and glow sticks and stuff like that.
Okay, because anybody that does food that's not in a food truck needs to make sure they go to Hamilton County
And
and
get
get
it.
the permit,
Yeah, we
not
had,
us.
we had one come in today, and we told her that she needed to go to the Board of Health and get a temporary food
Because
service
they'll
license.
come out to her booth and they'll make sure that she's up and up.
Got the water and the dip and whatever else you need.
And the cleaner and
Yeah,
Yeah.
everything.
all right. So, other than that, We had a laws and contracts meeting also on the 15th. We met with the building inspector to go over the issues that we're having with like some of our ordinances and like junk on property. I mean, I know we've been hashing this over and over. The grass, property maintenance issues. Dick presented us with some other things about, we're finding out this property over here where we have the trailer is commercial, so it's not gonna, the property maintenance code is not gonna resolve that. So we have to, that's something through zoning, is what we're being told now, which I have referred over to Bob there. And that's why it's not ready yet, because zoning is a whole different animal. But Dick has requested that we do like some container permits. That's just like the temporary storage and stuff that people want to put on the street, just so we're covered. Some communities have it, we don't. That way in the future, that it does protect us. He said there wouldn't be a charge for that. That would just be like if, so we know, he knows it's there and that we approve it. It would be at no charge. You know, like when we bring the dumpster and they're tearing down a whatever, you put it on the street or whatever. That's, he's come up with some forms which has been sent to Bob, so hopefully he gives them, make sure that's in what we need, make sure that's legal what we're doing. But the issue with the trailers over here, I think once Bob reviews it and goes through zoning and change it, we can change in the zoning code, hopefully we can address the issue that's on that corner. I know we've been putting this on the back burner and kicking around. I'm sure that's probably why you're here tonight. But hopefully that will resolve it once Bob gets a chance to review it. Because we did meet and talk, discuss it. It looks good to us, but as far as legally, him and Dick have to get together on the rest of that. So like he said earlier, hopefully this next council meeting that we will be able to have an ordinance to vote on that and then start the action that we need to do. The only other thing I have is, I guess, Lisa messaged me about the, on Halloween, if we do want to do like some for Halloween, we usually do it on the actual day, observe it on the 31st. But in the past, we have tried to have like the trunk or treat. We really didn't have many participants, you know, about 5 at the most, if I remember right, Margaret.
Me, you, I think, there wasn't very many of us.
There wasn't very, and then even the participation of the kids that came, but I mean, she's, we're willing to try anything. She talked about maybe having like a drive-through. I don't know if that'll help, but I think that we need to know how many people's coming so we can anticipate on,
I was
so we can
reading-
kind of promote a little bit.
Yeah, that email that they sent us about, no haunted houses and that kind of thing. And so I was thinking, you know, the way we're closing down the street for food trucks, the evening of when trick-or-treating is supposed to be, whatever.
It's a Saturday.
Is it on a Saturday?
It's on a Saturday this time.
Oh, man.
Yeah, but we don't get a lot of traffic in here. I'm honest, we don't throw up in the neighborhoods. It's 2 hours.
Yeah. If we did it early enough before a lot of traffic came to the bars,
Yeah,
my thought was
we can do it during the day. I mean, it's
Like-
less fun, but
have one side of the street, people handing out the candy, and the cars can just drive on by. So for a couple of hours, just
yeah.
the traffic only going one way. So that kids could they could still dress up and hang out their mom's window and hold their bag open and get some candy. But that was kind of one of the rules that they had put in that email that they sent around to all of us about.
It came, did you see the email that?
I emailed, every time I get something from one of them, I email you all, because I don't want you to think I'm holding back anything.
No.
So it's to do with the governor, I usually send one from
Right.
him, there's one from Workman's Comp, there's one from, there's just a variety, community chest, I mean, just different ones send the emails, so.
Yeah, this one came from Mike Salmon. The Halloween guidance. So what it says is, it's strongly recommended that hay rides and haunted houses be canceled or avoided. Strongly recommended that Ohioans exercise caution when deciding to participate in trick-or-treating and events to put them in close contact with people outside their households. Holding a drive-through or drive-in trick-or-treat event with children in costume and people at least 6 feet apart is kind of what they're leaning towards. So I thought maybe the event committee could get together and try to figure something out that could go along with those guidelines. You know how council and the mayor feel about that.
Well, you know how I feel about the haunted house, so I don't like the governor at all.
Are there any parts of the haunted house that could be set up outside? Or is it all kind of like built on the inside of the?
We build it on the inside of the maintenance building, yeah.
There's no way to keep people 6 feet apart in that haunted house.
Well,
It depends on if you're with a group, because technically we did keep them apart.
yeah, you don't want to.
Because I walk them through, so I let a group through and I hold them until they get halfway through. So they're technically probably 20 foot apart from the next group.
Okay.
The only thing we're not doing is sanitizing after each group.
Yep, thus I can get some Lysol cans and go through and spray behind each person I get.
It won't work.
Yeah.
You'll be in violation.
violation.
As a teacher that's gotta spray everything down between every bell and wipe everything down.
Because I mean, a majority of the people going through the haunted house are not touching anything really.
They're breathing.
They're like this.
Well, it's really the air ventilation more than anything else. You gotta have fresh air that circulates through. You can't have fans that circulate the germs around if it's there. Dude, like, I'm not joking, like it was 40 degrees the other morning and we had all our windows open and the rooms were cold because guess what? The state says you have those windows open, that fresh air is coming in. And they didn't want to turn on the boiler yet. So there are just a ton of, like, you might be able to do it if you kept the garage doors completely open, but you'd have to have an open air feel, you'd have to have the exhaust fans on. You kind of lose some of your cool haunted houseness.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about, we'll see. I don't want to discuss the haunted house tonight, I'll get angry.
We do need to vote if we're gonna, for Halloween on the day, we'll pick that day or whatever.
You know, even with the trick or treating, you're supposed to do that at some distance.
Yeah.
In fact, they suggest that you set something out in the middle of your driveway and let them come and take one by one. And then they tell the parents to go home and wipe everything down.
Yeah.
So why bother?
I know, it's like crazy.
Yeah.
I'm just buying a bag of candy and we're watching a Halloween movie.
Makes
What
sense.
about that? We talked about doing a movie in the park.
We could.
You could show like Hocus Pocus or something on a projector. People can spread out at night. We
Bring your
can't
own
trick or treat or
candy.
anything.
Yeah, bring your own.
Bring your own
Bring your own
candy.
blankets and stuff, and we have like, maybe we could see if we get somebody there with some big speakers and do a movie in the park area.
Just keep it off the VFW, you got a white wall there.
Yeah. You do it the night before, not the night of, because you know the parents will want to go out, or the weekend before.
Right.
You could probably set it up on our property and aim it towards the building. I mean, years ago, I don't know how many of you remember this, but I know that Ralph Eggleston, Gary O'Connor, Linda, they did that at the VFW. They showed movies over on the other side towards the pavilion.
Would you like to have another events meeting so we can discuss
Sure.
Halloween issues?
Yes.
No problem. I just know that's going to be a sore subject, just to let everybody start thinking about it early.
That's
Well,
fine.
it's not really early. It's only a month away.
Yeah, it's not
away.
early, but
It's a
still,
little early.
if you don't mind, you don't have to set up tonight, but set up
That's fine.
another. so we can-
All right, that's all I have.
I do have one thing, I'm sorry.
You said you were done.
I lied.
Go back.
You're such a liar.
I know, response to the audit, so I was on the audit phone call and with several other members of council. The other thing I forgot to mention that I wanted council's blessing on. One of the recommendations, and I think it's already in our policies and procedures manual, is that we're supposed to do an internal audit for each quarter. To my knowledge, or at least as long as I've been on council, we've never done this process. Margret has spelled it out and has a beautiful form for us to follow. I just wanted to make sure council's blessings there. If we go ahead and do that, we were going to start small and just do the first quarter. So that's January, what is it?
February and
January.
March.
January, February, March, just to start, and then we can bring that back to council.
That is the finance committee be doing that, right?
Yes.
But
Okay.
if you've all looked at your handbook for the village, it's in the handbook. The handbook was adopted many years ago, and it was in there as a part of that procedure to have the audits done. And if anybody, it's not Margaret's handmade audit form, I actually took it from an organizational thing and sort of designed it, and they're welcome to do whatever they want, but it was just, it has to come back and be voted on if they change it.
Well, if you want it in the form of a motion, I'll make a motion that the finance committee commence doing their internal audits.
Yeah, cool.
Second.
Motion by Dan Pillow, second by Dan Dalton. Any further discussion on the audit? No discussion, we'll vote.
Dan Pillow,
Yay.
Lisa Stafford,
Yay.
Dan Dalton,
Yay.
Dan Pillow,
Yay.
Steve Dalton,
Yay.
Ann Jackson.
No.
Are you sure?
Uh-huh.
All
I
right.
thought I had it all and I went, oh, I missed it.
We'll go ahead and go to the audience because she has been sitting here so patiently. Is there anything you'd like to address the council tonight?
My big concern is safety. On August 17th, I mentioned that we had a stack of propane tanks sitting outside of my building, and they are still sitting outside of my building. My concern is that somebody's gonna get hurt. My building might get damaged. I don't know what's in those tanks. And quite frankly, it's a little scary to see that sitting out. Not only that, but I have had complaints from residents who come down to the bar, and I've had complaints from people outside of the village complain about that because of the volatility of what the situation is. The other concern is, somebody's gonna end up getting hurt over there. We have to weed our fence line, and I know that Cliff has been hurt over there trying to weed the fence line by rebar. I don't know. To me, it seems like this is just going round and round and round, and I don't understand how it's been going on this long without any sort of remedy or concern that this is a safety hazard. I mean, this is my second attempt to let you guys know there are propane tanks stacked outside of the deck behind my building. So,
I did tell him myself he needed to remove it, but I don't have the power to actually.
well, I did tell the fire inspector when he came through. I don't know that he ever did anything about it. I am looking at other options.
Did you email the building inspector as well about the propane tanks and not just?
I did not,
Okay.
not the building inspector, no.
Okay. I mean, the code enforcer, I'm sorry.
I did not, and I did not respond to your email. I've been, quite frankly, really busy.
Oh, that's fine.
I've got
I didn't know
enough
if you had
jobs
gone
on my
back to him
plate.
again after that or not, so I was just curious if you
Okay.
did.
I mean, I know that it's a process, but what steps are being taken? And this is the heart of the village. and
I think we're at the point, Bob, maybe you can better answer her questions because that's the stack that you have that you're working with.
I mean, I've got a half-inch stack here, but the bottom line is, if you're having problems with the propane tank, the village has an agreement with Miami Township to provide fire protection. And if there's propane tanks down there and you can't get the answer from the fire inspector, you should contact Chief Ober. That's not to say that the village can't contact Chief Ober at the same time. Then the second thing is, as far as the rebar is concerned, is the rebar on the corner lot sticking over onto your property? Or,
Well, he was in like a 2-foot section trying to weed eat when
Right.
it was there. So I don't know where the property line exactly is, so I can't answer that.
Was it on the inside of your fence or the other?
No, sir, it was on the outside.
On the outside?
Yeah, he was
Our
trying to
guys went
clean
through
the
there,
fence line.
didn't we go through and cut the back of that? Behind the shamrock fence?
Right here, yeah. hired and built it, yeah.
Yeah, we took it upon ourselves, the village did, to clean along the fence line.
Okay,
Yeah, at least we did that.
okay.
So where is the rebar? Is it over the fence or between the fence and your property?
It is at, I don't know, like I said, I don't know where the property line is.
Mhm.
But the last time that he went out on the outside of our
Okay.
fence line to weed eat, I mean, he was only in like a 2-foot section. He wasn't way over on the property. So it's just thrown out there. I couldn't tell you. It's
Well,
just,
when you say it's just thrown out there, is it laying on the ground?
mm-hmm, yes.
Okay. I mean, that could just be debris from somebody going down the road, throwing it out, which,
Are you talking on the fence behind the property, or are you talking on the side?
On the side, it's
Oh.
like
She's talking
on
next
the
to the
side.
Properties
like
abutting each other.
Yeah.
that's what I'm trying to find out.
Oh,
So,
I'm sorry.
okay, so if the issue comes down to whose property the rebar's on, you're probably gonna need a survey,
Mhm.
as far as that's concerned, to determine whether it's on your property or on that corner lot.
A lot of these houses, you only have a foot. I figured that out, I got a survey. But anyway,
Well, you guys probably already had a survey when you bought the place, I'm sure.
We have not yet.
Oh, okay. But did I miss something while I was out of the room on the long, as you're asking what the long game is? What we're planning to do to eliminate the problem?
We're talking the trailers? Bob's
Yeah.
got the issues on, that's gotta be changed in the zoning code, but you were in here for that.
Okay.
So if this is changed in the zoning code, could it be changed to where they're allowed the outdoor storage there?
I don't think so. Not, there's gonna be provisions.
the
in-
problem you're running into is that that's not residential, it's
Yeah.
commercial. That's a commercial property.
Okay.
In other words, change in the ordinance isn't designed to just target that property. It's designed to target the entire village in terms of the improvements to the zoning code.
Okay.
You'll just be a third-party beneficiary of the changes that council makes, along with a lot of other people who own property in the village.
Right.
So that'll be the solution for every commercial piece of property that we have. We'll change it to residential to get done what we need to get done. In other words, if this guy up at the Bricks does something crazy and he has junk cars.
Residential,
Yeah.
right? No, we're
Well,
not
we're gonna
changing
change, well, what
No.
will we change it from too, I guess?
There are changes in terms of storage, trailers, junk vehicles, etc. It's all being reviewed as part of this change.
It's kind of like the rules of what's allowed on a property, regardless of whether it's residential or commercial.
It's not a change from business to residential. It's a change within the entire village. So the maintenance inspector has more tools to use, such as to target certain properties. So, like the Bricks building, they won't even go in the Bricks building. I know that's kind of like a landmark and everybody's worried about that area. But in most communities, you have ordinances that require a vehicle to be parked on blacktop or concrete, okay? Or else get it off the property. So if it's green, it stays green. And if you want to bring something onto your property, it has to have 4 wheels, it's got to have a valid license, it's got to be operable, be ready to run. And it can't sit there and just be up on blocks and think someday I'm gonna get to that. Or a
What you guys talked
business.
about in the meeting
Well,
last?
well, that's already, some of that was there. This is on commercial properties, what makes it different. Our regular, we have one for residential, basically, we just didn't, ours doesn't cover anything on commercial. That's why we're running into the problems that we had. That's gotta be added, and that's what Bob and Dick are gonna have to hash out, and put together. Because Dick did send us some additional information that I forwarded on to Bob.
Is this something new, or have you guys been like fighting this for years that it's been there?
We've been fighting it
We've
for a
been
while.
fighting it before you guys moved in.
Right.
We've been fighting it, and that's sort of what's disheartening about this whole thing. That this young lady came here in February, and asked for our help. And we're still back to square one. I just hope we can get something done. I just hope we can get something done.
All I'm asking though at this point is just have the propane tanks removed, because that's a little scary.
I think the quickest way to address that is talking to Steve over. I mean, because at that point, Bob, correct me if I'm wrong, it becomes an immediate safety issue, which it should have been addressed before, but nobody knew to talk to Steve about it.
Tom, would you mind giving Steve a call first thing in the morning?
I was just getting ready to tell her I will get in touch with the fire chief in the morning. I need to talk to him anyways.
Okay, thank you.
No, next year, Jack.
Is there a lot of rebar over there? Is there just pieces, I mean?
If there's just pieces kind of scattered amongst the lawn furniture and the wishing well and the
Whatever else is over there.
the signs. Just kind of scattered all over.
We get it.
Do you have anything else, Jean?
No, I'm good. Thank you. Thank you for listening. I appreciate it.
Thank you for your patience.
Thank you.
Wow.
Next one, the maintenance supervisor, RJ.
Yeah, I got a few things, but I want to start off with what you mentioned earlier. I did take 2 cans over to the park today. They're identical to the ones that we got all up and down Main Street.
You're in my mind, you go.
So, we had 4 over here at the post office, so we took 2 of them and left 2 over there. But yeah, they are over there. And then I want to let council know that storm drain up on Church Street is done. We got it done today. All I have to do is get a little more dirt and fill it.
Very good.
So
And how much did that cost?
that's what I was getting ready to say. Complete construction quoted at $1,400, and we was able to do it for a little under $500.
Absolutely.
So we saved $1,000.
You're awesome.
Finance committee loves you already.
And then the only other thing I want to talk about is I would like to get 4 new tires for one of our trucks. Don, where'd you put it from?
That's a nice tire.
S&S tire, we can get,
They're 1,000.
no, we can get 4 of them for $360, isn't that what it was?
Yeah, 360.
Are you putting them on yourself or are they putting them on for that?
We
The
can.
installation will be an extra 80, but the tires themselves are 360.
So you can do it all for under 500.
500?
I make a motion to approve maintenance to put new tires for $100.
Motion by Steve Dalton, second by Dan Pillow for new tires for the truck. City discussion.
Which truck?
It's the red F-250, the one that will be plowing.
The one that's the red one?
Yeah.
You can get us tires.
No pickup truck.
Yeah.
Well,
Any
you
other?
might want to look at the ones on the white truck too. They're not looking that good either.
No,
They've
they're-
already been replaced.
Oh, have they?
Because
Yeah,
they
it was
were
ready to
down
pop.
to about ready to pop.
Yes.
In other words,
When I
not
looked-
driving it.
When I looked at them, I said, oh my God.
Why do we let these go? I don't get it.
I don't know why everything's been let so far, but that's what we're catching up on.
So we had a motion and a second.
And now I'll call for the vote.
Dan Pillow,
Yay.
Lisa Stafford,
Yay.
Dan Dalton,
Yay.
Pam Pillow,
Yay.
Steve Dalton,
Yay.
Pam Jackson.
Yay.
that all you have, RJ?
Yeah, that's all I have. Yep. Thank you.
Anybody
guys.
have any questions for RJ? He's a new guy.
RJ, anytime you want something and you can tell me you save money and it still washes out that we're in the positive, you're awesome.
All right, we'll go to our chief interim.
If you guys have noticed down at the corner of Dining and Main, a lot of those cars have disappeared. He's got 2 or 3 left. I gave him till Friday to get them out of there. A few others I'm gonna have to follow up on. They're being a little more stubborn. I'm gonna get with Bob on one that still refuses to put tags on it. The tag that's on the front of it's fictitious, but it's in our right of way, so I don't know whether I should tag it or tow it. So I'm gonna get with Bob on that. We should have plenty of officers this weekend. Our new auxiliary officers will be starting this weekend, provided I can get their uniforms, considering Galls has put everything on back order again. So I'm not sure what I may have to address this with you all at the start of next year. I may have to look at switching uniform suppliers, which is gonna most likely affect my budget some, but this is getting to be a consistent problem with Galls when I order something that's 2 or 3 weeks back ordered. And it's blue uniforms, which 90% of the police agencies in this country wear. So I don't understand what the problem is. Other than that, I do need to ask for tires as well. It's been a year for tires on the police vehicles. The problem I'm having this time is I'm going to need to buy 10 instead of 8. I had one with sidewall gashes and another one with 3 nails in the back, and it was down to tread wear indicators. So those 2 had to come off, and instead of incurring the cost of 2 new tires when the other 2 need to be replaced, I pulled my spares that we've had for the past 6 years off of the rims and put those on the car, but they are worn down to the tread wear indicators. My cost on tires is slightly higher.
Get him where RJ gets his.
I am. For 10 tires, this is not including installation, but for 10 tires, it's gonna be $1,264. That's for both cars and the spares. Or I can go drop down to 8 and attempt to salvage 2 off of one of the cars and keep them as spares. And if I drop down to 8, it drops into $1,011 for tires.
What's your labor?
Labor will be $80 a car. So another $160 on top of that for those 2.
Gotta have tires. Can't run if you don't have tires. I make a motion, we outfit Don with the tires as he indicated.
It was like 400.
1,264 for 10 of the 10 new ones.
I'll second.
Motion by Dan Phillips, second by Pam Jackson for the police vehicles for new tires. Any further discussion? No discussion, we'll vote.
Dan Pillow,
Yay.
Lisa Stafford,
Yay.
Dave Dalton,
Yay.
Ann Pillow,
Yay.
Steve Dalton,
Yeah.
Pam Jackson.
Yay.
Also, Officer Pate was able to secure us 2 WatchGuard body cams out of Georgia. He paid for them himself at $600 for the 2 of them. He's trying to secure 2 to 3 more, and if he can do those, that may be something I approach you guys with for a budgetary to reimburse him for those. He's getting them through a auction site. These cameras are normally $2,600 a piece, and he's getting them for $600. I did also get the in-car camera that was malfunctioning has been fixed. After 4.5 hours going back and forth with tech service and going to and from the car, it was fixed, but they are on their last legs. Something we should be able to get hopefully another year out of, maybe. The problem with them is if one does break, they are out of warranty. And the last time, I believe, Murray, you may remember this better, the last time I sent one to Texas, it was $400 something for a fix. It wasn't, or $700.
I can't remember Dawn, honestly.
The new in-car camera systems are outrageous. One of the auxiliary officers we hired knows how to write grants, so that is going to be her first and foremost project, is to find grants for cameras. If not, I have found cheaper camera systems where we could purchase 3 of those camera systems for what we paid for one of the current ones that we have now. In the meantime, I will look for any freebies that I can find. I missed out on one today from Sharonville.
Mm.
But other than that, we haven't had any major incidents. And the cars are starting to get cleaned up. So just give us some time and I'll have the rest of them cleaned up. The ones that are on the private property and residential areas, I've got the ordinance I need to do that with. It's just I do have a question on the one that's in the right of way. So I'll have to get with Bob on that one.
Don, on the cameras that Officer Pate was able to secure, was that 600 apiece or
It was 600 for two of them.
for two of them?
He got two of them for $600. They're normally $2,600 a piece.
Have you been able to use them? Have you?
Yeah, we've been using them for the past week, getting everybody used to them. So we'll see how long we can operate with two of them. Yeah, the mayor saw them the first day they showed up.
I guess my question is, should we be trying to secure whatever, how many do you need?
With these, I could probably get away with 4. I gotta have him check and see if he can get 2 more. That way we have 3 available while one's charging. It takes 8 to 12 hours to fully recharge.
Mm-hmm.
That way we have 3, 1 for each shift, and then we have an extra in case one goes down.
Mm-hmm. And I think, I don't know, if we should accept those gratis from him, or is he looking to be reimbursed?
He hasn't asked me for the money.
I think he should be reimbursed.
He has not asked me for it yet.
Well, we have to make sure that's what we want to go with as a
And
police
Yeah.
department.
I have something, I've got to say this. When he's doing this, is there no way that we, like you as the police chief, can't do it in the village name and get them?
It's something, we could probably do the new ones. He happened to find these one night when he was up at 2:30 in the morning on the internet. And there was like I think he said there was under a minute left to go on it. So he threw it in and got it.
Well,
He woke up the next
we
day.
just
and
need
was there.
we just need to stop and think, because if we are gonna reimburse him, and I think we should, those are the type of things that the auditors look for as to why I did that. That's where it always needs to be in the minutes that, you know, he did this and for you guys to reimburse him.
No, I'm not gonna have him move forward with any others unless I tell him to do so. I've told him to look for some and see if he can get as good of a deal. But he knows not to purchase anything else unless we give him the green light to do so.
That's a tough position to be in, when you find something so cheap that you're willing to say, I'll pay for these, they're so cheap.
Yeah.
That's a tough position to be in.
Yeah. I mean, if you're gonna do that, just have a motion that if he can get him, he does it, and then reimburse him. I just,
Yeah.
Right, in other words, if we make that motion, if he finds it again, if you guys make
can
that
do
motion,
it.
then he can do it.
and then
Yeah,
get
we can, a
reimbursed.
motion to reimburse, yeah, for those kinds.
No, I mean, a motion to say if he finds the other 2.
Yeah,
A motion
Yeah, I
to allow
understand.
him to.
But I think that we need to reimburse him for these.
Yeah.
That way they're
Yeah.
village property and they can be listed, and then in the future, make another motion that if he finds any of those items, he can expend so much money. You know, something like that. So that if he sees them, he can do
You're
it.
good with that, I'm good with it.
I'd like to make a motion that we reimburse Officer
Hey,
Payton for the $600 he outlaid in 2 cameras, so
I
that
second
cameras
that
become
motion.
village property.
second motion.
Motion by Steve, second by Dan Pillow. Is there any discussions about that? No discussion, we'll vote.
Dan Pillow,
Yay.
Lisa Stafford,
Yay.
Dan Dalton,
Yay.
Ann Pillow,
Yeah.
Steve Dalton,
Yeah.
Pam Jackson.
Yeah.
Those body cameras, right?
Body camera, yes.
Mhm.
The last thing that I have, I finally,
Another motion?
Guys, hold on.
You're probably gonna need an ordinance for that one.
Mhm.
For,
Because we're technically
this.
buying property from somebody.
oh,
And it protects the village and protects me from getting written up.
Do you need to vote for your ordinance?
No, I'll just bring it.
Okay.
Okay, so we basically, okay.
the last thing I have, I know we had discussed the Ohio Collaborative that we had gotten into. I finally got a hold of somebody and spoke with them. Per the lady I spoke to up in Reynoldsburg, there is no retribution if we decide to leave the collaborative. It is not state required. It will not affect us on getting grants or anything like that. Basically, right now, it's just a feel-good thing for the public.
What was the issue with the collaborative? They
The
were-
issue with the collaborative is For 2.5 years, Dorian had done none of the paperwork, so I am 2.5 years behind the gun on that. And then getting ready to come up on another year, which I would have to get all the paperwork done on. The other issue with that is a change in their thing. Their retention policy for videos, considering we're now gonna have body cams again and in-car videos, is 180 days regardless of what the video is. Where right now, if it's just a video where, you know, we pull up on an abandoned car out here, but my policy says they have to activate that camera just to cover themselves. Well, if there's nobody with the car and they go back in service, that's set as a default event. After 30 days, that falls off of my server. With the state collaborative, it's gonna stay on there for 180 days.
Takes up a lot of space.
A
Yeah,
lot
we
of
don't have
space,
enough
especially
storage
with
for
body
that,
cams.
something like that.
Body cams take up a lot of space because of the number of videos.
Lisa, ask Bob if they can't still make a motion that he can buy these things.
Oh, see, that's what I was trying to ask too. So if he goes to buy this second set, if you guys can make a motion to allow him to do so.
Can we do
Because
that, Bob?
that was
and
for
then-
reimbursement.
And then pass an ordinance?
Well, you can let them go buy them, but the first question is, you don't know what the amount
Right.
is going to be or anything else. So essentially, what he's gonna have to do is buy them and then come back to council.
I'll keep his expenses down. I will give him a little limit.
Or if he could tell you, and then you could buy it on behalf of the village, could we do that, like, could we
Like-
just?
Him
At
using
3
a
o'clock in the
PO or
morning?
something?
They call me for everything else, so.
As long as it's
You gotta know how he got those,
Yeah.
because he was up 2 o'clock in the morning looking around for them.
I'll just tell him next time if he sees that to call me real quick. I mean, they call me at 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning, that's when the mayor's court date is, so. Yeah, it's not that big of a
So
deal.
I think what she's asking though is a motion for you to allow him to do that, regardless whether it's him, Pate,
Yeah.
whoever, allow him to do that.
I'll
If
make
he
the
finds
motion.
that last minute
Yeah.
deal.
I'll make the motion, Lon. Do we want to set an amount?
I wouldn't be like,
I said set an amount.
What did he spend this time?
600.
I don't think he'll get that good of a deal.
I'd say no more than 1,000.
Yeah, that's what I was saying, 1,000.
And that is limited to body cameras.
Yes.
Right.
Okay, just wanted that.
and we're talking
specific.
2.
Yes, would have to be a minimum of 2
Yes.
for that cost.
Or if they're selling at 3, then it's 1,200 for 3.
Oh, Lord.
See what you get into?
I mean, we are kind of,
Oh,
You're
yeah.
gonna have to exercise, what I'm saying is, you're gonna have to exercise some discretion. If there's 3 of them there for 1,200, you're probably just gonna have to get them and then come back to council and say, listen, I got 3 at 12, here.
So if he finds a deal for
I mean,
1,000.
is he paying taxes on it?
I don't think so, because it was an internet sale.
Well, I'm just asking because that's another thing we'll get wrapped up for.
and
is
that's why, honestly, the easier thing is you buy
That's not a
them.
problem.
If you can buy them on behalf of the village, because otherwise we start paying taxes and,
I'll get with him when I see him and find out exactly where he's looking at these
It'd
at.
be a lot easier just for him to buy them from private individual. That way he could do it through the village and we wouldn't have to do all this motions and ordinances and stuff.
council goes back to regular session, correct?
Yep.
So like we have
Next
a
month.
meeting or like first week or first
Yeah,
Monday.
they just-
Can we table this and give you a chance to come back with a little bit of hard
Yep.
data and then 2 weeks from now we can come back to it?
Yeah, unless he finds a deal.
So what you
we'll
need to
reimburse
do
him
is
for
you
it.
need to make a motion on the floor for Bob to prepare an ordinance to authorize the expenditures. No?
Well, that's what I just asked.
We
you.
are-
Yeah,
I thought we already did that.
He said he was preparing.
I'm preparing now.
I think that defeats the whole purpose. We need to we either gotta make up our mind he has to make up his mind to buy. If he's on the computer tonight and he sees 2 body cams, he needs to be able to buy them. This is what I'm looking at it. If we have to wait and go to another meeting or something, we might miss.
No, we're tabling to make sure, so give chance for Don to kind of get all the details so we know what we're actually approving. We already agreed to buy the first 2, and then 2 weeks from now, we'll come up with, once we know all the details. We're just trying to avoid like us paying taxes, which looks really bad for a tax exempt entity to pay taxes and all this other stuff. So if we can give Don a little time to figure out how to buy them, and he can do it on behalf of the village, then it eliminates a lot of the red tape and issues.
Well, it may make us miss the deals is all I'm saying.
If something comes up that's very, very good, I will contact there and.
They won't wait till next week.
In
But
other
the mayor's
words,
gotta have council's approval to do it.
Yeah.
if you're buying them from them, okay, the only time the auditor gets upset is if the village is paying taxes on something the village bought. If Pate bought these things, and let's say he got them for $600 and it's $25 extra for the tax, and he says, I'll sell them to you for $625. Okay? That's the issue. But in waiting for, as Dan points out, in worrying about the 25, if he's got 2 of them already, they're worth $2,600 a piece for $600. And if we're arguing about $25, we may miss the next 2.
Yeah.
So the thing that I was trying to say is, just provide the chief with the parameters that, you know, we want 2 more, but if you find there's 3 for $1,200, grab them, because essentially at that point in time, you're getting almost $7,800 worth of equipment, and then we can sit down and see about selling one of them that we don't need, which will probably pay for the 4 we got.
There's some truth there.
You know, in other words, you just have to use some
Creative accounting,
or common sense.
same thing.
So where are we at?
I don't know, council, you tell me.
Well, we started to have a motion, and I think we had a second. And I need it done.
Who seconded?
Okay, the motion was, who said?
Pam made.
You made the motion to allow it,
For a cap of $1,000 for 2.
okay? And who seconded that? You did?
I believe I did.
I'll second it. If no one else did,
No
I'll
one
second
did.
it.
We started talking.
Right. We started talking before time of discussion.
Can you get this
You
over?
know how this works, it's supposed to be, you know, motion second. Is there any discussion? That's when discussion should happen.
Sorry, Mom.
Now we're ready to vote, are we?
Are we ready now?
So now we're ready to vote, right? All right, let's have our vote.
Dan Pillow.
Yay.
Lisa Stafford.
Yay.
Ann Dalton.
So long.
Ann Pillow.
Yay.
Steve Dalton.
Yay.
Pam Jackson.
Yay.
I love you, professional.
I'm done.
Thank you, Dawn.
Something we all been done.
Everybody want to stay for a really long night or?
Return.
I second.
Let's order
Motion by
pizza, popcorn.
David, second by.
There we go, we got this.
Thank you very much.
No discussion, we're gonna vote.
Ann Pillow.
Yay.
Lisa Stafford.
Yay.
Ann Dalton.
Yay.
Ann Pillow.
Yay.
Steve Dalton.
Yay.
Pam Jackson.
Yay.
Oh, boy.
See, Chief.